Today I'm going to be showing you how to use Generate NFT Online to generate your NFT collection, your images, and your metadata. Now, before we get into that, I should probably explain the process of how to launch an NFT collection. So essentially, there are four main principles or four steps in which you must complete. Step one is that we assume that you create your own artwork. And step two, from there, you have to generate an NFT collection. That size could be 1,000, 5,000, 10,000. It could be just 100. That's completely up to you and how you'd like to do your NFT collection. But we're assuming that you already have the layers ready to be stacked in order to be generated. From there, step three, you upload your collection to any of the markets or blockchains. And step four, you launch your mint, whether that be on your website or simply sell on open markets like OpenSea. So this is the application which we've created. So we have some images here. Forgive me because I am not a graphical artist myself, but we're going to go ahead and show you how this works. We have our backgrounds here. We're going to add Wojak as our character here. You take your characters. In this case, we got Wojak. We're going to add our hats. I want to add some eyes. Going to add some beards here. And finally, hoodies. Now for this one specifically, we only have one hoodie. We don't want the hoodie to be there every single time. So we have a blank PNG that's just completely transparent that we've added. However, if you do use the flowchart view, you would not need to do this. And I'll explain that shortly. But what I would like to explain now is now you've got your layers, right? You've got your backgrounds, and your next layer is your character itself, the character's hats, the eyes, the beards, and the hoodie. Now you're going to probably want to distinguish specific traits on these layers as being more rare than others. In this instance, I would like to reduce the likeliness of the generation of this specific GIF background. And yes, we do support GIFs and MP4s. So I'm going to reduce this to 10% while everything else is about 30% here. Now, under Wojak, I'm going to make it so that the pink character is around 15%. The red character is around 20. Reduce that pink back to 15. That's good for me. So most often people are going to end up with the plain white character here. All right, you can do the same with any other layers. You can go ahead and adjust it. In this case, I think that these are like the Bitcoin eyes, and I think that those should be more rare too. I got your beards, your hoodie. All right, so I'm just going to show you a preview quickly. All right, so there we got one preview. Let's check out another one. That's pretty cool. Another one. Awesome previews. Okay, so now you can go ahead and add your project name. So like Wojak Collection. You can add your project description. And of course, you can adjust your size. So if you wanted to mint, let's say 10,000 NFTs in your collection, you would choose 10,000. You can choose whatever you want up to 10,000 currently. Now, to give you a little bit more advanced options, we do have the flowchart view. Now, this might look a little bit confusing at first, but I'm going to explain it. Okay, so we have our start and we have our background. Everything looks like how we had it in list view. We'd like to change that, right? So in this instance, we're going to have it so that everything has the same background, okay? Now, what you could do in particular instances is, let's say you had two characters, right? So we're going to add a new character here. We're going to call it character 2, all right? We're going to unlink this, move it up here. And you could choose to have, let's say, separate hats and separate eyes or whatever other layers. And you could link that here. So you could do, let's say, hats character 2. And you can put that under character 2. And then you can do eyes car 2. And like that. And then you just got to link them. All right, now let's say the beards and the hoodies, these final layers here will go on all characters. So then we just link that there. So now we have a 50% chance of creating after the background, character 1 or character 2. And we can also change that as well. We could say that Wojak, we would actually like to decrease the chances here specifically for this one, for this character, because it's more rare for whatever reason. All right. What I was talking about earlier is that we had hoodies, right? So we have this blank image here. Now, instead, what we could do is instead of doing it like that, we can just go ahead and we can delete this none file. We can keep that there. We can go hoodie. We can just actually call this hoodie. And then we can create another layer called no hoodie. And we'll drag that down here. Now, obviously, there's no image in no hoodie, and that's perfectly fine. So now, if we generate, there's a 50% chance of generating a hoodie or just not adding an extra image to this specific NFT. So what we're actually going to do here is we're going to get rid of these and we're going to revert back to what we had it at. We're going to keep it like that with the hoodies. And that should be all good. Okay, so now we're just going to go ahead and we're going to generate our collection. We're actually going to change this. So change our collection size to 100. Put in your email. And now your artwork is being generated. And once the NFT generation has completed, you're able to then download the NFT art.zip, which we've already done here. Now you just unarchive this or unzip it, and you'll have these two directories or folders right here. Now in the first one called art, you of course have your art. That's looking pretty cool. We've got that rare Bitcoin eyes right there. Oh, we got some GIFs. All right, and under metadata, you have the actual metadata in which you will require when you're sending these to blockchains. All right, so we have our name, Wojak collection number 1. This is obviously for the first image. We have our description, which we left blank. We have its DNA, its edition count, its date that it was created. We have things like the actual attributes here. So this trait type is obviously called background, like we had labeled it, and the values, etc. That's pretty much it. So after you've downloaded your NFT collection, you're ready to send that to the blockchains, start selling your NFTs.